Hey friends, V here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video tutorial, I'm going to share with you the step-by-step instruction to create a 19-inch poinsettia flower using my brand new Poinsettia 2.0 template. This is a 10 petal pattern, and it's a little different from my original poinsettia design. It has a little bit more detail and essentially looks like a holly leaf. But I'm super excited to show you guys how I designed this petal to create the poinsettia. Now for today's tutorial, we are only using 5 petal sizes. That's petal 3, petal 5, and petal 8, 9, and 10. You will need 6 of each of those petals, okay? Now, the remaining petals, you'll just put those to the side and we'll use them for another tutorial on a different day. Now for our tools, you're going to need your hot glue gun, your flexible ruler, your scissors. You'll need your embossing stylus and a pencil to trace all your petals, a 1/2-inch dowel and a 3/8 dowel, as well as a flower shaping mat so we can put some detail on some of our layers, okay? Now, first things first, we are going to start styling with our largest petal, which is petal 10. Now, for this flower, not every layer is going to be styled with the accordion fold, but for petal 10, petal 8, and petal 3, you will be accordion folding, okay? So we're going to start off with petal 10 where we fold it in half. You're going to have the right side opening to, or the opening of the petal to the right. And you're going to begin to take the point of the petal and you're going to fold it down so that way the creased side is horizontal. Then you're going to take the point and then put it back to the top. And again, you're going to just continue accordion folding, okay? So if you need to watch this part over and over again, I suggest doing so. And for this specific design, we want to make sure the accordion fold has nice detail, but it's a little bit thinner. In my previous poinsettia tutorials with my other template, I just kind of go through the accordion folds pretty quickly, but for this specific tutorial, we want quite a bit of fan folds, okay? So you want it really detailed. So again, we're going to go ahead and fold it in half and crease it. Make sure the opening is on the right and the crease is on the left. Bring the point of the petal down so that way the crease goes horizontal. I'm using my measurement map, my work mat to use as a guideline for the straight edge. And you're going to begin accordion folding. Now the accordion fold is going to be at an angle, so that's why it's going off up to the right corner when you do that. But take your time with this. Now's the time to pause to go ahead and accordion fold the rest of the petals for this layer before we get into the next layer and use our editing magic. There we go. We have all 6 petals complete. So once you have your petal 10 fan folded, we're going to go into petal 9. Petal 9 and petal 5 are going to be scored. They're going to be a scored design, not a fan fold. So this is petal 9, layer 9. And I'm going to crease in half. But then I'm going to take my flower shaping mat and my embossing stylus, and I'm just going to create veining lines, going upwards on the right and then going upwards on the left. As you can see, I'm going to end up piercing a hole. Do not put too much pressure onto your petal, just to avoid a whole bunch of holes, okay? With your flower shaping mat, it helps because it's soft and it allows your embossing stylus to push onto the cardstock to create those embossing lines. So you're going to repeat this process for all 6 petals of petal 9. You're going to take your 1/2-inch dowel and you're going to curl those edges away, okay? So make sure you do that for all of petal 9. Now I'm on petal 8, and back to petal 8, we're going into an accordion fold, okay? And again, if you need to pause the video to get all of your petals styled, then you can do so now. But I am just going to go through and accordion fold all of petal 8. Again, doing your best to give quite a bit of those fan folds to get a lot of detail into your petals. Now, once all of your petal 8 are fan folded, you are going to go into petal 5. Petal 5, we're going back to the embossing vein lines. So again, fold it in half, place it on your flower shaping mat, and use your embossing stylus to create those lines, and then curl the edges. For this one, we're going to use the yellow 3/8 dowel to curl those edges away. And again, you want to make sure that you repeat this process for all petals of petal 5. Again, if you need to pause the video to do the rest of your petals. Now I went ahead and completed petal 3, the smallest as well, with an accordion fold. Now, once you've completed all your styling, you're going to go back to petal 9, the one with the embossing lines, and you're going to make a cut up the center for petal 9 at 5 inches. So a 5-inch cut up the center of petal 9, and make sure you're doing this for all 6 petals of this size. Okay. Now, once you've created your 5-inch cut, you're going to go petal by petal, and you're going to add your glue and cross over. Now, the crossover is going to be outer corner to outer corner. So the right tab that you're crossing over is going to meet the left bottom corner in the center. So those two outer corners meet right in the middle. So that is how far you're going to overlap for petal 9 as well as for petal 5. Now for petal 5, we're going to do a 3-inch cut up the center. Okay, a 3-inch cut. And you're going to do the same overlap. Add your hot glue, overlap the right to the left, bottom right corner to bottom left corner. And that's how far you should go on your overlap. Now, once you've completed your petal 9 and petal 5, you're going to go to petal 3. Now, there are 6 petals for petal 3, but we're going to break them up into 2 sets of 3. So the first set of 3, you're going to do a 2-inch cut up the center of the first set of petal 3. And then the second set of petal 3, you're going to do a 1-inch cut. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and just cut one by one on this one because I couldn't get them to line up since the accordion folds are there. But I'm going to cut 1 inch on the second set of petal 3. So I'm essentially breaking up petal 3 into 2 layers, 3 each. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and take a 6.5 inch hexagon base. Sorry, I was going to say octagon. A hexagon base, 6.5 inches. And you are going to mark 2 inches from every straight edge. Then you will begin placing petal 10, okay? The bottom edge of petal 10 should go up to the 2-inch mark. Do not cover the 2-inch mark when you're adding petal 10. Now, as you can see, we did not create a cut down the center of petal 10. It's just the petal and the fan fold. So there's no need to create a cut up the center. And you're just going to place these one by one up to the 2-inch measurement off the edge of the 6.5 inch hexagon base. Now, as you can see, when I'm placing the petal, I'm going to the point and I'm kind of pushing into the crease. So that way the point or the top of each petal opens up. So if you want to do that, you can. I did just to kind of open up a poinsettia. Once I've completed petal 10, I'm going to go ahead and connect all of the 2-inch dots to create a new hexagon in the middle. I'm going to use the straight edge of that new hexagon as my guide for petal 9. So I'm going to take petal 9 and go right up to that straight edge and press down. Do not cover the straight edge of the hexagon, and making sure petal 9 goes in between your petal 10s, okay? And I'm just going to speed up here so you can see the process. If you need to pause the video, feel free to do so that way you can make sure you're getting everything done on your end, okay? So once petal 9 is complete, I'm going to the corners and placing my flexible ruler and marking 1/2 inch away from every corner of that small hexagon we have. So in between every 2 petals of petal 9 is where I'm going to start my measurement, and I'm doing a 1/2 inch cut. Again, making sure that petal 8, the bottom edge goes up to the 1/2 inch cut, but I do not cover the dot. So petal 8 should line up with petal 10. And as you can see, as I place the petal, I go to the point of the petal and I push into the crease so that way it opens up and it brings some highlight to the tip of the petal, okay? And it'll open up the flower a little bit more. And you're gonna just make sure you add all 6 petals of petal 8. Once I've done that for petal 8, I'm going to connect all of my 1/2 inch dots to create another small hexagon. So take your ruler and connect all of those dots. And then I'm going to go ahead and add petal 5 to the straight edge of each side of the hexagon, meaning petal 5 is going to go in between your petal 8s, and it also aligns with petal 9. Okay, so these are all visual placements that you can see to know that you're placing them in the right area. Once all petal 5 are added, you're going to go ahead and do your overlaps for petal 1. I didn't do that before. So just make sure you add your glue to the bottom left tab, overlap it over, again, outer corner to outer corner. And again, as you can see, I'm still pushing through the tip of the petal to open up the top, okay? Once you have your 2-inch cut of petal 3 assembled, you're going to create a triangular shape with those petals. So I'm going to glue 2 together, and then I'm going to add my 3rd one. Before I go into the actual flower base, I'm just going to take the small base tabs and glue them all together. So that way I have 3. I'll add glue to the bottom, and I'm going to position them so that way they're in between petal 5s, every other petal, okay? Because you have 6, now you're going to 3. With this last layer, again, I'm going to add glue and overlap, and I'm going to place one by one in between the first 3 petals we did for petal 3, okay? And you're just filling in the in-between spaces and gluing them down, okay? You've completed the petal portion of your flower. Now, if you do not have a Cricut machine, and all of this entire flower can be created by hand, I'm going to take this gold foil paper. This is the OG Michaels gold foil that has been discontinued for probably over 5 years now. I somehow managed to find a pack in my stash every now and again. So if I can find a duplicate or something similar to this, I will let you guys know, but Michaels no longer sells this specific thin foil gold cardstock. But you're going to do your typical center. If you don't have a Cricut, you can do your basic pom-pom center, okay? Now, as you can see, this other side of the gold foil is white. So you want to do your best to kind of hide that. So we're going to make sure that we're not using the white side. And you're just going to, again, create your pom-pom, start rolling up the pom-pom center, okay? Now, when I fold those edges over, as you can see, there's still a white strip at the bottom. That's because I want the fringe to have some detail. I want it to be more of a puffy center. Now, if you have a Cricut machine, I do have a poinsettia center that is included with my mini poinsettia template. That's also available in my Etsy shop. And this is the poinsettia center that I'm going to use for this flower. Now, I need 4 layers, 2 layers at 5.5 inches and 2 layers at 4.75 inches. So because this is one-sided, I'm going to make sure that the white side is up, and I'm going to use my embossing stylus to shape the top or tips of each stem. And then I'm going to roll the center. I'm going to flip it over and roll the center on the gold side. And I'm going to do that for both layers of both layers of the 5.5 inch. And then I'm going to glue them together. Another option for the center are the gold filler foam balls that you can find at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, or even the Dollar Tree. Once those are attached, I'm going to take the 2 layers that are 4.75, and I'm going to repeat the process with the rolling of the tips, and then flip it over and roll the center so it lifts up. Now for this one, I'm going to bunch these together, but I also forgot to crease those little balls at the tip of the stem. I'm going to crease them where the stem meets so that way they become more open. I know this is a little hard to see, but I'm essentially creasing the little ball where it meets the stem. This is going to ensure that the gold part is seen and we see less of the white once we bunch it up like this. Okay, it basically flattens out the ball. I want to keep a little bit of that base flat so that way I can place this inside the second piece that is also 4.75 inches, and then I'm just going to bunch those together. Okay, once you have those 2 attached, you're going to go ahead and add glue to the bottom and place them inside the 2 previous layers, and then just make sure you glue that center into the middle of your poinsettia, and you've completed your 19-inch paper flower. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm super excited to see all of your creations. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Bye.